Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Weber State Esports. We're happy to have you joining us for some exciting Rocket League games here at the NECC.
Yes, it is going to be another fun, exciting, and action packed night here at Weber State Esports. But I do feel, just to kind of start things off, quick little mention for our esports program. As quite recently, we have Tyler Orling leaving us. A sad moment and very heartfelt, as they've done a lot of great work for the program. So I just want to take this moment here to shout them out. Great work, Tyler. We always appreciate you and everything you've done for the program.
Yes, thank you very much, Tyler. I will second that sentiment as well. We hope that you find great success with your future endeavors, and we'll take everything that you've given us and we'll keep moving it forward. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
And with that said, we're going to keep the stream going today, so not everything is falling apart just yet. But yes, so we do have our Rocket League matchup here today, and who are we competing against?
We are up against LCU Esports, which one moment, folks. All right, which is, of course, Lubbock Christian University.
Yes, okay, and we should be getting into the match here very shortly. And yeah, the thing with Rocket League is you never really have much to go on the preamble. We all know it. We all love it. It's soccer with cars and rockets.
Yeah, there's not some, unlike with League and Valorant, where there's like certain champions or picks you can say that have maybe different ways the game plays out. Ultimately, each car has a gas and a pedal, and they're gonna be pressing it.
Yeah, we have the players, they put the pedal to the metal, and it's really just, the experience. The experience is how I like to define it, because you just get to enjoy it. It's just a blast to watch, and we do seem to be having a little bit of a delay going into the match here, so you know we're just going to be here to occupy you in the meantime. Hopefully you don't tire too much of our ramblings.
I mean, we could still find certainly things to talk about, such as the fact that Weber State's Rocket League team actually doing fairly well this split, 4-1 so far, hoping to lock that 5-1 scoreline. But LCU, no slackers themselves. They're 3-2, so this game fairly important, right? If LCU takes it, both teams will be tied at 4-2, but the head-to-head would go to the winning team if it's LCU that wins.
Yeah, I think this makes it the most even matchup we've had yet, barring the start of the season when everyone was 0-0.
I want to say that's correct. We've had a couple matches that where teams certainly were the underdogs and had good showings. I will say, despite the fact that Weber's played some teams on the lower end of the score, they've put up some great aggressive games. So I wouldn't count Weber in or out of this game either way. You gotta wait to see how the game's played.
And so at the moment, looks like just having a little bit of technical issues going on and some delays coming in. We kind of had this with, well, was it last week going in, where it was just a couple of problems here and there, a couple of games having to restart, and so just kind of set things back a little bit. So at this point, we should be coming to expect and love it. It's just part of the pacing, part of the fun.
I don't mind it too much, as usually, even though there's a delay at the beginning, Rocket League players, once they get going, they stay going, and we will go back to back to back all the way to the end of this best of 7.
Yeah, so if anything, this is just sort of the time and reminder. Go out there, grab some popcorn, maybe grab a nice little drink accompaniment, because, once the action starts, it doesn't stop.
Just make sure you take care of yourselves, folks. Stay hydrated. Okay, it looks like actually so far might have a little bit of a longer delay today, as we're getting updated that the enemy team has not quite reached out to us yet. So with any luck, we will be jumping into it shortly, and the enemy team will be ready to go. I'm excited for some cool games, but for now, like we mentioned, you're with us, folks.
Yes, well, anything good coming up on the horizon for what's going on? Just sort of, I was gonna say holidays. We just had Halloween, just recently. So, any fun stories to tell?
Well, unfortunately, not so much for me, but boy, there was all kinds of fun stuff going on Halloween around town. I heard that a lot of my friends ended up going out of town, and so I had a nice spooky evening with my parents, and we said hello to a bunch of trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, I know for one group here at Weber State University, went out, did some escape rooms, and got all dressed up, and had a lot of fun with that. And also to represent, managed to get second place on the leaderboard of all time. So Weber State just going to show their smarts.
Nice, that is very impressive. All right. Well, that sounds like it was a fun Halloween. I have much more plans upcoming for these holidays, both Thanksgiving and Christmas. But even before that, in my opinion, my first fun holiday isn't a world recognized holiday. But on the esports side of thing, League of Legends Worlds ends this Saturday. It's in China, so it's late at night. But I hope any of you out there, if you're interested in seeing it too, sound off in chat, let me know. I'm certainly excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, after all, we are very loving towards League of Legends and League of Legends esports, as it's been a mainstay of Weber State esports itself. So it's kind of like core to our identities here at Weber State esports. We love it. And being able to have one of the largest esports across the planet, being able to have its annual most exciting events, that's just exciting to begin with.
Yeah, it's always a great event. Especially, I mean, I'm biased this year. I won't get into it too much, as we've heard a little bit. It seems that the enemy team is hopefully loading in soon and will be ready to go. But yeah, I mean, on that note with League, we should hopefully have games tomorrow, which I'll highlight while we have the time. Keep an eye out, folks, with some of the changes, such as Tyler leaving. We've got some interesting and tentative changes to our schedule, but always stay tuned. Keep an eye out. We'll go live, and you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, and with any hope, like you say, with the team showing up shortly, we won't have to start getting into the realm of very bad puns to keep this stream going. We've done that once in the past, and it was quite the experience, but that is not going to be the last resort for today, because it looks like the match is loading in and the players are revving up to go.
Yep, and just like that, folks, the game has started finally. Thank you for waiting for us, and boy, you won't regret it, folks, as Rocket League is super exciting. You can see it right off the bat here. Players just fighting over the ball as aggressively as they can.
And so we have Weber State University playing on blue side with LCU as the orange team, and things are just kicking off as we have Snap going to be picking up the ball here into midfield, into the corner, and now it is going to be full play here on out.
All right, a good goal attempt there, actually, from LCU, going for a great goal. But now Weber getting control of the ball, passing it almost all the way over across the map, and just barely missing a goal there. Can they gently pass it over to another member? Not quite sure who that was. They're going for the goal, but now a good block airborne is a good block, and maybe Rivers can pass it over, just a gentle tap into the goal. A good block instead from Shadow.
So first thing I'm already seeing from LCU right here is they have a very strong goal defense. So it's going to be a lot harder for Weber to play into this game, and so like we kind of started with the beginning of this matchup here, going to be a lot more evenly matched, and Snap getting the score there as Weber's goal was left open.
Yeah, just a nice angle there. It looks like Weber was a little too aggressive, didn't have enough boost to block it, and CRF was not in a great position. Absolutely no one in Rivers almost there, but almost isn't enough when it comes down to these millisecond goals. So LCU already off to a good start, and Snow with another good tap, and unfortunately just nowhere that CRF could go. Couldn't quite get the airborne flip, it looks like, and a quick second goal.
Yeah, just kind of immediately stalled out right there, and you could see them trying to get in position, but just not enough oomph in that jump.
All right, well, immediately we're headed off to a strong start. I think this is the first time Weber's been this far behind this early, so I'm already excited to see how this matchup goes. They've got to find a way back into this game, but for now, the ball is entirely still in LCU's court, literally and metaphorically, as it is hit back by Weber. Snap going for a block, but a rebound almost goes in, and a good kind of goal from CRF. It was a weird play.
Yeah, just an absolute cluster of different plays right there as we see the initial hit going onto the backboard and then accidentally bouncing off of LCU's member there going into the goal. So a little bit of an own goal, but not really anything to do about it.
Yeah, you can't really blame him from that one. It was a close and narrow own goal as Snap hoping to recover from it. It's worth mentioning that we're a minute and 15 seconds into the game and there have been 3 goals, so I am very excited about the potential pace for this series as Snow keeping it up in the air, Snap maybe looking to catch it, but absolutely no one with a good push back. And once again, we find a goal undefended, so maybe Weber can find the angle this time as Snap gets a good push away.
Yeah, Snap just appearing out of nowhere, ready to go onto the defense right there. Rivers taking the ball, taking it down. Snap taking it once more, and absolutely no one passing it back over. And now we see it being passed over to Shadow as they're taking a midfield pass to Snow. Goes for a shot, just a little bit too high. Now Rivers picks it up, takes it back to midfield, and CRF chasing it down. A good bit of air control, a lot of boost right here, bouncing it off the backboard, and Rivers to the follow-up, but blocked by Snap.
Absolutely no one does have the recovery on the ball at least, and we'll try for another attempt, but a great push forward and a follow-up by Snap, just barely hitting the rim of the goal there. It doesn't go in. Oh, heartbreaking for LCU, but they're not going to be shaken by it. They still got great boost, great ability to push the ball around, and Weber's not in a great position. They just have to block this goal. A good angle there. Great goal from Snow.
absolutely just sneaked it in on the side. You would think it's going straight forward. We see absolutely no one going for the block, but just barely dodging by all three members of Weber.
That was a clean goal. That was one of the tightest goals I've seen this entire season in Weber's game. So very, very impressive from LCU. And now up 3-1, they're happy to maintain control over the ball. As long as they can cause chaos, they will stay winning in this game. And nearly a fourth goal there as Snow tried for it. But Snap will find the goal. 4-1. A destructive lead.
Yeah, LCU here is on top of their game today, and it is going beautifully for them. You can see the formation and just like a strike team going forward, being able to get one goal after another.
And Snap's name is surely staying true because Snap has found these Snap goals in these moments. Snow trying to keep the ball up in the air and maybe pass it over to Snap or to Shadow, who's ready for it. Looks like the ball will actually just be landed right on top of Snap. They're going to try and dribble it over back toward Weber's goal, fly it over through the air. And now with a little bit of chaos going on and a great tap up from Rivers means that Weber might be able to find a position to score a goal to get them back in.
And we see absolutely no one taking it back into the corner. CRF stalling out right here, but Shadow going to be bouncing it pretty high up here onto the wall. And now Rivers just trying to keep it on this side of the map while Weber builds up more boost. But Snap is going to be bringing it back towards midfield. Shadow bringing it into the corner, bouncing off, and now coming back down over to Rivers, and now back to Snow as we see right now LCU ready to break this a little bit further. Rivers on a good speed, Snap popping it up into the air. Absolutely no one going for a shot on the goal, but it's a pretty slow one, and Snap is going to be able to take the ball once more. Rivers going onto the fence and passing over to Snow, going for a shot, but blocked by Rivers, and now Shadow here on the follow-up. CRF going to try and take the ball away. Snap catching in midfield. Rivers on the pickup, and now it's looking for another setup for Weber State, but Snow shooting it over towards the goal. It was an open goal at that moment, so it could have been a shot right there. A demo coming in on the field. CRF going to bring this once again towards LCU's goal, and now Rivers taking one shot over there. Snow picking it up back towards midfield, and absolutely no one knocking into the corner. It is stalled out.
Wow, what a crazy sequence of plays. The ball just going all over the place. Rivers trying to get a good push forward, but they just can't find it. And Weber's having a little bit of trouble with teamwork, it seems. They can't find the angles to push it to the other members. And now with Rivers demoed a team member down, it looks like Snow will find a nice and simple goal. The 5th goal of LCU. And if you're Weber at this point, the best thing you can do for the rest of the game is just try and find your teamwork, fine-tune your plays, and get ready for the next game, because they cannot find 4 goals in a minute, surely.
Yeah, I mean, last week a big topic of conversation was the idea of adaptation, how teams are going to see what the other players are good at and how they're going to respond to that threat. And so far, both these teams are pretty equal in how they play, what they do. The only difference is LCU is doing it better. They're getting the very fast initial strikes on here, and that's putting Weber on the back foot to where they can't really follow it as well. And so, especially as you see in the point difference, being 4 points down in this game right here, doesn't matter how their strategies are playing out. They need to change something, or they need to just do it better.
Yeah, they need to find what makes LCU tick and slowly tear it apart, or else they're going to find themselves quickly losing this series. But I have much hope for Weber. I think they've got great potential to adapt. And right now, all that is experimenting, right? Try these crazy plays. You know this game's going to be over in a minute. And almost a goal attempt. Speaking of crazy plays, an aerial goal from Rivers doesn't quite go through. Now, absolutely no one setting up again and trying to pass it to the teammate, but a great block from Snap means that with 4 seconds left on the clock, this should be a simple end to game 1. A strong lead from LCU as Weber pops it up for a second. But of course, with the amount of time left, they cannot pull this game back. Game 1 will go to LCU.
All right. And so that's setting things up for, bad start for Weber, but by all means, not the end of the story right here, because these are best of 7s. You need 4 game wins to lock everything up. And obviously, as Weber State fans here at Weber State Esports, we're ready to see things go forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see how this series plays out, especially after that. I haven't seen Weber pushed a lot this season, so already seeing Weber really, really fight for this game to come back in their hands. And looks like we're jumping right into game 2, folks. The immediate fight over the ball begins, and Weber's sort of winning, but Shadow with a pop right over absolutely no one means that actually LCU has great control over it at the beginning of this match. Snap in a good position, but a great pop over from CRF, and a pass to Rivers. Maybe this will be Weber's early goal, but no, not quite. A great block from Snow, and now Shadow with a decent amount of boost should just be trying to push it over, pick up some more boost, and maybe pass it over to a teammate. Mike, for the goal.
Yeah, I mean, they're going for a shot right here, but it's going to be brought up once again. CRF actually very high in the air here, but going to be blocked by Snap, and so absolutely no one going to try and follow this up right here. Snow popping into the air. CRF bringing it back to the other side. Snap catching it once more over to Snow. It's a good setup here going for a shot, but absolutely no one going to take it into the corner once again. Shadow going for a shot right here. CRF to block and takes it away, and Weber State has control once more.
Wow, I mean, this has been back and forth, but shout out to LCU while we have a second as actually a goal attempt goes through, and a great, actually, rebound that's barely blocked by Snap. Wow, what an insane block. Barely finding the save, and now can Snow keep it up, keep it away from their goal? Shadow popping it away. Weber wants to find another possibility like that, and maybe actually land it in this time, and they will barely not find it. Oh, the corner of the goal just not being their friend today.
We see CRF trying to follow up once more. Rivers in the setup to try and go for a shot, but the ball's bouncing too far away, and now Snap takes control once more. Absolutely no one going to try and babysit the ball right here. Bring it over towards midfield. Going to bounce it over Snow. They have no more boost, and so they're going to be stuck right here as it goes into the corner. CRF going to fight for the ball, takes control. Snap takes it once more. Rivers goes for a shot into the air. A follow-up from absolutely no one, but barely off the angle. The ball stalled out right in front of the goal. Absolutely no one not there for the follow-up, and so now the ball is back in control of LCU.
But man, the ball was on that side of the map for so long because of an insane aerial push from Weber. They're so good at keeping the ball in the air and dribbling it across. So I think they need to find control over it once again in the skies and find their angle. But with a great gentle pop-up from Snow, a nearly goal attempt goes through. Rivers has no boost, so they can't keep it up here. And unfortunately, the boost will be denied by Snap. So if anyone has control of the ball, it is absolutely LCU once again.
And so we see the ball going back over to LCU's side of the field, and now over to Weber's side. It's a tennis match right here, and we thought we were playing soccer because we see Rivers going to try and follow the ball right here. Absolutely no one actually going for a very fast shot onto the air right now. Snap bringing it up into the air, and now going from midfield over for a shot. Blocked by Rivers, and now taking control, and actually a good shot coming in there from Shadow, but CRF is going to be taking it off the backboard right there into the corner along the wall, and going for another setup right here, but doesn't have any boost, and so it's just going to stall out right there as it is once again a fight back and forward, and no one is able to take control of this match.
We talked about adaptation. I'd say whatever Weber's doing is clearly working. This is a complete inverse of the previous match. It's so tight, no one able to score goals, and CRF almost accidentally scoring on their own goals, so that should end up resulting in LCU's first goal. A little bit of a caster curse there. I apologize, Weber. Just as I called the game slow, LCU finds the window.
Yeah, I was going to make some comments, long earlier, but this match just kept going back and forth. So we're going to give just a little bit of time here, see if we can have LCU make another one of their very quick goals into this game. Maybe it was just stalled out on momentum there. And there we go. Demos into a very quick goal. Snap, I believed in you right from the very moment. And so we see just barely going past there and straight into the goal.
Wow, bumping it right over. I mean, blinking, you'll miss it. That's an insane Snap goal. And what was a very even game for so long immediately skyrockets in the favor of LCU. We've just got to find a way back into this. But again, they're doing much better than they were previous game. They don't have a 4-point deficit yet. However, LCU found a lot of those last points in the last minute or two of that last game. How many times can I say last? My goodness, there's absolutely no one trying to find a block for this goal, but with a double demo into Weber's members, it is exactly absolutely no one who has to block it. And is Snow going to get it? No, just barely missing the tap might just save Weber's life there on that goal.
Yeah, so the big thing I was going to point out here, because now that we've seen a little bit more of these teams, what I'm noticing is specifically on LCU set. Actually, Snap going for a shot right there, blocked by Rivers, and out of the goal, a very close call for Weber right there, but barely covered by Rivers, and now CRF and absolutely no one taking the ball once more, and now back into midfield. Hopefully this is going to be a little bit of a breather period, but Weber's not getting any chance at a goal right now. Rivers going for a shot here, but Snap keeps control of the ball, bounces off the corner, and no one to follow up, and so it's just going to stall out right here into the middle of the field, popped up by Snow, and now Rivers trying to take control, passes it absolutely no one. A little bit of boost here to work with, and now going once more, a big good demo coming in here in the middle, going for a shot right here off the backboard, and CRF to follow up, and there is a goal for Weber.
Weber's second goal of the series comes at a crucial time when they need it. With a minute left, they've got plenty of time to find the goal that can return this game in their hands. CRF with a great tap just back into the goal as it bounced off the rim there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm saying here with LCU is that they have a light switch playstyle. They flip between two binary states very rapidly. They are either on the full aggression, ready to get a goal like right off the very start of the match, or they're playing a super hard defense, and now we're seeing that Snap just getting another one of those early goals for LCU.
Snap is really good at finding these angles. Like you talk about that light switch play, it seems like Snap turns it on incredibly quickly. The moment the game starts, the round starts, the point starts, he can see the angle and find the path.
I mean, you can literally almost see it just based on whether the ball is on their side or Weber's side of the court. Like the moment that happens, you can just see the entire play style of LCU switch over immediately, and it's working for them. I love it. I love the plan coming together. Snap with a very good defense right there. CRF on the follow-up, but absolutely no one going to have to try and take this once more, but bounces it into the wall, and Weber's now trying to play on recovery. As we see, Snap has a little bit of boost there, going to be able to knock it into the corner, and now Weber State is on the defense.
Yeah, We've got to find a great defense that can turn into an offense fast. I don't think they've got time to pull back this game, but with how fast LCU's been finding these goals, Weber has the potential to do it. Certainly they haven't done so yet, but don't count them out yet. Although that being said, with that demo, I think that should seal the rest of this game. 3 seconds left, and the ball squarely on their side of the court means that will be the second game of the match over to LCU.
All right, so right now we have LCU 2 games up, Weber 0 games in the bank. So if Weber does want to win the series right now, it is going to be an uphill battle. They can afford to lose one more game, one more match set, but do you really want to do that? No, they do not. So it's still going to be a very tense fight from this moment on. And who knows, maybe this is where Weber goes 5-2.
It's always possible, yeah. I think, yes, I guess that would be it. So let's see if they can pull it out now. And now, immediately, LCU with, again, good control over the ball. But now Weber finding it, push it into LCU side of the map. Rivers, unfortunately, not quite finding the angle. Absolutely no one not in position to toss the ball over. Yeah, CRF picking up some good boost floating over. And again, Weber likes having the ball in the air. I feel like we've talked about this many, many weeks. And I have not seen Weber dribble the ball a lot in this series. Every time they do, they have moments like this where they're able to tap it just over and maybe find it to fall gently into the goalpost, but not quite there. I'd really like to see them pop it up into the air more.
Yeah, but we can see right now Weber State back on the defense right now. CRF actually doing a pretty good dribble right there, keeping the ball on top of them and going a little bit towards midfield. But now Snap going to be taking control once more. It's shot into the air. Rivers going to catch it and taking a commanding lead right now. A demo happening, and now Snow catching the ball. Shadow taking control and just stalling it out in the corner. A shot goes over into the other corner of the map, and now absolutely no one going to try and take control once again.
That being said, LCU managed to deny a strong push. The ball just sort of gently floated to the ground into the hands of Shadow. So now Snow, using the last of their boost, just trying to set it up for a teammate, will deny another side of Weber's boost. And the longer the game goes on this side of the map, Weber's going to run into trouble. And there it is. Snap finds another goal.
And we could see their Shadow on essentially interception as they were just going in front, stopping anyone from going for a block right there. And maybe they stopped Rivers from catching up in time, but it was just close enough anyway that LCU is going to get another point, continuing with their commanding lead.
Ooh, we were almost finding a snap point there. I call it a snap point, not literally as the player name, but it seems that has been the theme of this series. Ball is in a good position for Weber right now, but they have very little boost. Rivers has to run all the way back just to try and make sure they have some ability to fight over the ball. They will use all of it, in fact, after they get it to try and push it there, but will deny a little bit more boost. Again, this game feels like it's been heavily about the boost, and the longer the ball stays on one side of the court, the team that pushes it there has a much better control over the speed.
And so we see, once again, Weber on a heavy defense as the pressure is being laid down, but actually bouncing very quickly over to the side of LCU. We see a shot coming in there, Snap going to pump it up and keep it away from the goal. Absolutely no one stalling it out. Setting up for CRF, but CRF does not get high enough to go for the shot. Rivers catching a little bit of boost and now bringing it back towards the enemy goal, and it's going to be stuck here right now. Absolutely no one going to set it up once more, but being shot away. And so with a good speed on there, CRF is going to try and stall it out. Absolutely no one catching it, but Snap is ready to catch it once more and bouncing it back into midfield. No one has control just yet.
It feels like Weber has a great adaptation in this game. It seems every time you look at the main state of the map, one of Weber's members is back in their net, ready to play defensive, and it seems to be working, right? Less goals this game, a very even state that they can easily pull back as long as one of the two members on offense finds that hero shot and scores their goal. Looks like it's CRF's turn to find it. Maybe they can do so. They like to bounce off the backboard, won't actually be able to do it, and Rivers trying to get a good pass up, but for once, Weber does not have anyone defending their own goal, and they might have caught themselves in a bad situation.
See, what we're finding right here, as you kind of pointed out, is that both teams are showing an equal prowess on their defense. They're doing a really good job keeping control, stopping anything from happening. But what that inevitably means is that you're essentially relying on a lucky opportunity to actually get a goal. If you don't have a better offense than their defense, you're not actually going to be able to progress in this match. And as it's going, that's not a good sign for Weber, because the lucky goals or the shots of opportunity keep going to the side of LCU.
Yeah, Shadow finding one of those that you were just talking about there, a great find. I mean, yeah, we talk about it, right? The gameplay really has come down to these hero shots, a player finding that opportunity. Most of them have been snapped, but Shadow and Snow not far behind. Weber just hasn't found those hero opportunities that this game, this series, is demanding for.
Well, I think what you see is on Weber's side, they go for a very deliberate amount of setup, and actually, absolutely no one just getting the goal by themselves, completely maybe proving my point in that Weber keeps going for these team play setups, and it gives enough time for LCU to come in and disrupt that. Whereas absolutely no one just solo, lone wolf going for the shot gets the goal.
Yeah, I'd like to see even more of that, right? Especially because that was kind of an aerial shot. Of course, it wasn't fully in the air, but the ball fell from the heavens above, landed absolutely no one's nose, and he tapped it right into the goal. So more of that is exactly what we need to see if they want to stay in this series. Because reminder, they are down 2-0. This isn't just a singular game. The best of 7 has huge ramifications, maybe for the rest of the season too. We talked about that at the beginning of the game. But right now, all that matters is Weber finding the opportunity to push this ball in. But with it landing squarely in front of their own goal on their side of the map, they've got to be careful here. Shadow, with a great 50-50 win, just manages to push it back to Weber's goal. And they're using everything they can to try and score it. The longer Weber can wait out, the more boost they might have to push it.
It's in a dangerous spot right now, but Weber has managed to save themselves just long enough. Snap is going to keep up the pressure here, breaking off here, and now River's going to try and follow up and takes control from the ball and going to be bringing it over. We do see Snow trying to stall it out just a little bit, but CRF is here to follow up. This is where that teamwork comes together, but unfortunately, Rivers wasn't there in time to get that last hit on the goal.
But now, a huge fight over the air and the ball. There's 5 players right on top of it, basically hugging it, and absolutely no one just barely misses that hit. If he had found it, I think Weber would be in much better position. But as it is, Rivers almost finding that goal attempt. A great block from Shadow, and now with a decent amount of the boost, looks like they're going to push it all the way. If absolutely no one doesn't block this, which they do, thankfully, it would have been disastrous. And now it's up to Rivers, the only Weber member on their side of the map currently. Absolutely no one in a good position to maybe follow up for a team goal that Weber's been going for, but those haven't been working. I think CRF needs to try and find a play.
With only 14 seconds left on the clock, this game is not done just yet, but never mind, because with Snap getting that very clever play, just kind of stalling out, slowing down just enough to where they think a shot's coming in, but able to get it right over with Rivers. That means a 2-point lead, 10 seconds left on the clock. This is probably going to be the third game for LCU, unless Weber immediately scores a point right here. I don't think it's going to happen, but it does spell promise, because the gap has been closing in on each individual game. And because this is the best of 7, Weber can play for game 7.
Boy, it would have to be a reverse sweep at this point, which those are always tough. That being said, all it takes is a swing in momentum. I would say Weber hasn't really found that momentum moment against the 3 S's of LCU, Snap, Snow, and Shadow, which I will say I find that very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. There isn't a momentum there. It's going to be hard for Weber to play this. But, as I was kind of saying, they've been closing the gap every so bit. So, if they could even so much get the next game to score as 1-0, that to me spells a recipe for success. That to me says they have a chance of making something happen. But of course, we are on series point right here. Everything on the line to finish off this series.
I agree with your call. I think it really just comes down to slow the pace of play. Clearly, it seems that when you have these long fights, you might be able to find a goal. Just play defensive, and if Weber can find a hero shot, just one, they can begin the dream of the reverse sweep. But they've got a long road ahead of them.
Yeah, and, the question is just how do you try and keep that maintained? I mean, even if you do get it 1-0, you have to keep it 1-0 and not 1-1. It's such a hard fight to go for. But in this 4th game right here, they have a chance, they have an opportunity, and we can already see it's looking good as we have the game. No side immediately taking control here. Actually, still going for a pretty good shot, but Rivers on the defense right there, able to cover the gaps, and now Snap stalling it out a little bit, has a little bit of boost right there, but absolutely no one going to steal it away, and a good bit of momentum coming in here. We see Rivers going for a shot right here, and goes, but a very good block coming in from Snow. Absolute last moment.
Wow, these insane saves from LCU. They've had several this series. I've been very impressed, but absolutely no one, just barely not able to find it. Again, once more, another incredible save.
I mean, that one didn't go through, but I love the mentality from absolutely no one. And it tells me Weber has picked up on what we have picked up on, in that you just have to send it. You just have to go full force to try and get that goal and just stall it out from there. And so we see CRF trying to take control right here, but a lot of boosts have been built up on LCU's side. Shadow's going to be blocking out right here, sets up for Snap to go for control, but actually it's now bouncing back to midfield and no one has it.
Yeah, usually I talk about causing chaos only when there's a lead, but it seems these teams have understood that chaos is the name of the game. Just try and find the ball in any position it's in and make a hero shot. That's all that matters now, and Weber really starting to pick that up. Like you said, I think they've got a good chance to start pulling this back. I'm feeling much more optimistic about their chances here.
Yeah, but the problem is we've seen LCU as a beast in this matchup, but Rivers getting the goal right there, proving me wrong, dead in the tracks.
All right, 1-0 lead, just as you talked about. That's all they need. The only point that matters is the one that you have over your opponent. It doesn't matter if it's 15-14 or 1-0. Weber just needs to lock down the fort.
And so, with 3 minutes and 22 seconds on the clock, that is time Weber has to kill or maybe even increase the lead. I'm happy with that as well. Rivers, go ahead, do however you want to. The rest of Weber, I believe in you. You can do this, but we have 3 minutes on the clock, and so that is going to be where this match might be decided.
I mean, already I can't imagine the emotional pressure that was lifted from Weber scoring that one goal. Having that small lead can do wonders for a player's ability to focus and really perform. A great block from Rivers there, and I think we're already starting to see it. That being said, if that ball does go in, there it is, tied 1-1, and unfortunately, a little bit of a caster curse for me. My apologies, Weber.
Yeah, but the thing is, momentum. You've said it before, momentum is a huge deal in any game, especially one as fast-paced as this. Even though they did just take a hit right there, Weber has proven they are able to get that hero shot in themselves. And so if they can keep that coming in, it might just help and keep things alive. But now we see, unfortunately, Weber is stuck here on the defense almost immediately trying to bounce out of the corner. But Snap bringing in the pressure once more. CRF going for a high aerial shot right here. And Rivers on the pickup. So a very good pass setting up right now. We see the Weber team setup going for it. And unfortunately, not enough room to play with as we go back into control of LCU.
I will say, shout out to LCU. I feel like the members have been great at finding these moments where they actually had come to a stop and wait. In a game full of these insane shots, these crazy moments, they've been pretty good at finding small, patient windows and saying, hey, actually waiting for a second is good here. But that was just a clean team play. Another goal to LCU, and Weber's not out of it, but man, that feels bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just, the magic Weber hasn't been able to get together this game. The idea of passing from one player onto the other to get the shot into the goal, that hasn't come together for Weber. And so now Weber is on the back foot. They have a 2-goal deficit that they need to make up.
An early demo, though, might give them a little bit of pressure trying to find just a window to get more boost, right? The most important thing a demo does is reset a player's boost and reset their position. So just taking the time to find control of the ball, remain in control of the resources, and aim for a goal is what you need. But at this point, the game has neutralized out. And with Shadow finding a great push up there, CRF had to block it and found a good block.
Unfortunately, as much as Weber has tried to adapt to this playstyle, I think what we're seeing is LCU has immediately adapted, and that's where things are looking so poorly in this matchup right here, because what we're seeing right now from LCU is a more proactive defense. They're no longer trying to set up to block these team-based shots. They are now immediately going to intercept whoever's going for the first shot because they're expecting these hero plays now. And so Weber's new strategy isn't working anymore.
Yeah, adaptation to the adaptation, a bit of back and forth, a game of chess almost in this game of Rocket League. And now, with a minute left on the clock, Weber still has plenty of time, but they've got to be feeling the pressure at this point. I can only imagine how it feels, but I think they're still doing pretty well. CRF with a great amount of boost actually might be able to find a window. If Snow can't get a great push away, they could be able to do it. Absolutely no one, just barely not able to find the window, but Rivers sure does. And just like that, folks, it's 2-2.
All right, well, 53 seconds left on the clock. We've seen these teams fight it out for longer, and so we could very well be going into overtime.
Yeah, reminder, folks, that while we've seen minutes go by without scores, we've also seen game one go insanely fast, so this game could still go anywhere. This is not decided by any means. So Weber needs to keep the pressure up. I think they absolutely need to find this point, of course, to stay in the series, but for the sake of their momentum.
And so we see Snow's going to be catching it right here, but Rivers keeping it a good bounce. CRF going for a shot, but blocked by Snow.
A good attempt there. Again, aerial plays like Weber likes. Unfortunately, a good block means that Weber's got to find a good position to be in, but a great counter block from CRF means that the ball's in a good position. Rivers has a decent amount of boost, should just be able to pop it away from their side of the goal.
And so I think really what the formula has to be here is Weber has to keep switching it up. It has to be unpredictable, whether it's a hero shot or whether it's going to be a team setup. And so now we see right now, bouncing off the goal right here, 10 seconds left on the clock. It's counting down ever so quickly. And so with no team taking precedence over the ball right now, we are going to stall out and go into overtime unless that shot went in, but it was a very close block. Rivers almost catching it once more for another follow-up, but we are in overtime. This is everything to play for. Does LCU get an immediate goal and just end the dreams right here, or do we keep this going for as long as possible?
Weber's match life entirely depends on this next goal. Can they keep it up and find the reverse sweep, or will their dreams be crushed? Man, this is so tense and exciting. CRF got to find a position to push up the ball here. They do pretty well, but unfortunately for them, Shadow is in a great position to block it. A great pop over means that Snap will have to be the one to defend it, but absolutely no one in a good position. That being said, LCU finding their way back to their own goal, defending very well. Snow popping it up, has full boost, and should be able to pick up a bit more. Will be able to pop it up, and a good 50-51 by them, but Rivers going for it, pops it off the backboard, can't find the goal.
But absolutely no one coming in with a lot of speed once more. Snap going to take it away from the goal. Shadow to keep it going and goes for a little bit of shot right there, but not the right angle. So CRF is going to be picking it up, and a lot of boost means they're going to keep it up in the air over top Snap. And so now Weber State going to try and keep control. Rivers able to bounce it away and keep that shot from happening. Snap going for a hit, but absolutely no one winning that trade-off right there. And so Rivers actually in a pretty poor position right here. CRF doesn't have the boost set up to go for that hit right there, and barely keeping it alive. And unfortunately, neither team has actually taken the ball into a goal just yet.
Folks, I don't know if you're feeling the same way I do, but I feel like I'm on a roller coaster ride. My heart is thumping, riding up and down. This is insane. Right now, it's up to LCU to try and maintain control of the ball, but Rivers might have found the angle. A barely blocked goal from Snap. An insane play keeps this game continuing, but CRF going for another attempt. Pushed back. This overtime might go for ages, and I'm so down for it.
Yeah, I mean, as it is, both teams have proven to match themselves hit for hit, pace for pace. Snow actually in a good setup right there. CRF there to shut it down immediately. And Snap goes for the hit. Absolutely no one not moved fast enough to reposition. It is a tragedy, but that is going to be the game for tonight in a 1 minute and 49-second overtime. Absolutely no one diving to get the final goal block on there. But that is not going to be enough as things wrap up here, and LCU takes it in a commanding 4-0 victory.
Boy, if you just saw that last game, you might not have felt that that was a 4-0, but it will be a decisive series for LCU at the end of the day. We thank you for joining us, of course. Sad to see Weber lose, but what a fun series.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a commanding victory by LCU, but by no means a boring game to watch and witness, as we saw a lot of fast-paced action, a lot of fun stuff happening, and a lot of great hero shots being the word of today.
I would certainly say so. All right, folks, thanks for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful evening, and even with a lot of the changes we have here going on at Weber State Esports, we hope to see you, ideally for tomorrow, but for the rest of the weeks, for our series.
Yeah, worth noting, we will not have our varsity games for our League of Legends team tomorrow, but we are hoping to catch the junior varsity team.
So stay tuned for that. Hopefully, we'll see you then.